We will now look at the practice of child marriage. A third of world's child brides are in India, according to a report from UNESCO. Child marriage causes high rates of maternal mortality, and one woman dies every 7 minutes in India because of pregnancy-related cause. And children are even more vulnerable to such dangers. Poverty is one of the main causes of child marriage, and more than half of the Indian population live below the poverty line with no money to afford a decent shelter or a proper meal. During such cases, a child is given away in exchange for some money, or if the family thinks it would get her some sort of a security. There was this one woman who was a strong force behind bringing this practice to the attention of the policymakers. Rukmabai Raut was married at the age of 11. A child bride herself became a fierce advocate when she contested her husband's claim to conjugal rights in an iconic court case that led to the passage of Age of Consent Act in 1891. And this changed the age of consent from 10 to 12. And at that time, this was a big deal. The case against her was reopened and she was given two choices. Either she could live with her husband or spend 6 months in jail. She chose to go to jail rather than spending time with her husband. During this period, however, Raut had written a series of articles in various newspapers as an anonymous journalist, adopting a pseudonym. Rukmabai was born to a woman who herself was a victim of child marriage, who was married off at the age of 14 and gave birth to Rukmabai at the age of 15. And she also became a widow at 17. In 1929, after her retirement, she published a pamphlet called Parda, which means a veil, and the need for its abolition, arguing that young widows were being denied the chance of actively contributing in Indian society. Because if your husband is dead, even if you are a child who was married to an older man, you will be ostracized in the society, and you have to wear a certain type of clothes that sort of makes you stand out, and people can know that you are a child widow. But despite the best efforts of women who spend their whole life trying to bring legalities to safeguard children, this evil practice is just as rampant in modern India. In 2020, during lockdown, a 16-year-old girl called the authorities in South state of Tamil Nadu, and she filed a complaint against her parents. She claimed that she was being forced to marry a 39-year-old man, and she asked for help. The girl's parents had lost their jobs during the pandemic, and she had received this offer from a man who said he'd take care of all the wedding expenses, said he didn't even want dowry. So the parents were forced to consider it. But thankfully, because the woman, little girl, escalated the issue, the authorities could intervene and stop it. But the district of Tiruvannamalai, where this incident happened, claims that the second highest number of child marriage happens in that part of Tamil Nadu, which saw 168 such cases in 2019. And a report during the same year by UNICEF states that one in three of world's child brides live in India, and of the country's 223 million child brides, 102 million were married before turning 15.